welcome or welcome back to my channel, Honey's MY Stories. For today's video guys, I will share with you my 10 culture shock moments on my first few months here in Malaysia. By the way, if you're new to my channel, I'm a Filipino expat living here in Malaysia for almost a year now, and I have been uploading videos about my expat life, travels, and my call center agent journey on this foreign country. So if you're interested on any of that, then please click that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you will be updated for my future uploads. Alright, back to the topic. So let's begin guys. My first culture shock moments here in Malaysia, which I still adjust up to this day, is Malaysia's traffic rule or their road system. So here in Malaysia, they drive on the left and overtake on the right, which is the opposite in the Philippines. So on my first cycling experience here in Malaysia guys, this happened.
So keep left, I think
Because, three.
I drove on the wrong side of the road. Although it's already in my mind that I should keep left, but subconsciously, I still drove on the right side, which is a facepalm moment. And also, I have same experience when I went to the mall and I wanted to go on the upper floor. So subconsciously, I stepped on the right side of the escalator, thinking I will go up, but it went down, guys, and this happened.
guys, nabugo ko. Naanad banggod ko ba na right side is going up sa Philippines. So, you know, still need to adjust.
So yeah, it's one of the epic fail moment here in Malaysia because of the road system that you need to keep left. But yeah, that's the first on the list. And speaking of floors, my second culture shock moment here in Malaysia is their floor counting system. In the Philippines, we start counting floors by ground floor as the first floor, and then upper level will be second floor, third, and so on. But here in Malaysia guys, they count ground floor as ground floor, and then the upper floor is the first floor, and then second floor, and then so on and so forth. So it's confusing for me because if I am to follow the Philippines counting system, and if I am on the third level, that will be third floor. But if you're here in Malaysia, it's still second floor guys, because it's ground first and then second. So yeah, it's different. And I think this is because Malaysia follows European floor counting system because they have been colonized by the Brits, while the Philippines follows the American way because we were colonized by the Americans. So yeah, it's kind of different, and it's just like the same in the TV series Emily in Paris. If you are familiar with it, the time that Emily tried to open Gabrielle's door thinking that that's her room because she thought she's already in the 5th floor, but in France it appears that they count ground level as ground floor and then the next level is the first floor, just like here in Malaysia. So yeah, it's a little bit confusing. That's the second culture shock moment for me. And next on my list is the use of UK English. I have mentioned this in my previous vlog, which I will link here. It's kind of different in the Philippines because we use US English. There's this one time that my boyfriend and I went to a McDonald's store. The attendant there gave us an instructions on what to do after we finished eating. So he mentioned that we need to throw our rubbish in the bin. In that moment, guys, I realized that they're indeed using UK English on a day-to-day basis, and not just lift or toilet, but other words as well. Because guys, we don't use rubbish nor bin. Who uses that in the Philippines, right? We refer to rubbish as trash or garbage, and trash can or garbage can instead of bin. It's just unusual for me to hear someone using those words instead of trash and instead of trash can. So yeah, that's something amusing for me. Related to that as well is the use of the word takeaway. If in the Philippines we use the word take out if we want to eat the food somewhere else outside the store, but here Malaysians don't understand take out guys, so you need to use the word take away. So So yeah, that's something different with English words that we use because of differences in UK English and US English. Next on my list of my culture shock moments is the similarity of Bahasa Melayu and some Filipino or Bisaya words. I didn't expect that some of the words are actually similar, although it's spelled a bit different, but they have the same meaning. So although I don't know Bahasa Melayu, sometimes I can still understand what they meant when I read signages because it sounds like Filipino word and it meant the same thing. So for example, you can always see this around the words pinto and toyo. So actually, that's just the same with the words pinto and tulak in the Philippines, which means door and push. And actually guys, there's really a lot of words. So for example, payong, that also means the same thing here, and they use that for umbrella, or kilat, langit, buwan, and so many more. And yeah, let me know if you want me to make a separate video about that, guys, so feel free to comment down below. Okay, alright. My fifth culture shock moment here in Malaysia, which I find amusing, is that Malaysians know the TV series Pangako Sa'yo and the song Anak by Freddie Aguilar. It appears that it is quite famous here in Malaysia, and when we go to places and locals will ask us where we're from, the moment we answer we're from the Philippines, they will really say, Pangako Sa'yo na. The first time I hear that, I was like, how did you know that? And I think it's really famous, guys. Like Grab drivers or store owners, they will try to connect with Filipinos by saying they watched Pangako Sa'yo. I just don't know which Pangako Sa'yo, if it's either the original Pangako Sa'yo by Christina Hermosa and Jericho Rosales, or was it the Niels version? But yeah, it's really quite famous. And even the song Anak, they will start with Pangako Sa'yo and then they will say, yeah, we also know Anak. You know, I did not know much about Malaysia before I came here, but knowing that Malaysians somehow knows something about Filipinos, so it's kind of shocking to me actually. Alright, next on my list is that here in Kuala Lumpur, they have free bus service. That's really unusual for me because I don't think there are such thing as free bus in the Philippines, not in our place or in the city where I used to work. Locals or even foreigners can take that free bus service and go around Kuala Lumpur. And if you wanted to go sightseeing, then you can take the free bus. Who knows what places will you be able to visit. Another culture shock moment for me is here in Malaysia, their gas stations are actually self-service. There's no gasoline attendants that will assist you fill in your gas tank, unlike in the Philippines. And it's kind of shocking to me because if I were a motorist and it's my first time filling in the tank, I will be confused what to do because no one will help me out. But it appears that we just need to pay first for the petrol that we will be buying, and then we will just grab the pump and do it ourselves. And yeah, it's surprising for me because in the Philippines, we really need to wait for the gasoline attendant to accommodate us. And if it's a very busy day, then it might take couple of minutes before we will be accommodated. It's convenient here. Alright, it's our 8th culture shock moment, and that is there's no earthquake or brownouts here in Malaysia, guys. There's no brownout unless maybe for a maintenance perhaps, but not on a day-to-day basis. Unlike in the Philippines, it's really different here because in my hometown, it's, oh my god, almost every day there will be a blackout. So like few minutes or even seconds sometimes, turn off and then off. So yeah, it's annoying and inconvenient for us in the Philippines. But yeah, here in Malaysia, there's none. And of course, there's no earthquake. Malaysia is located outside the Pacific Ring of Fire, so there's no earthquakes or volcanic eruptions here, so it's safe from those types of natural disaster. I think I'm on a safe country. Alright, so we're down in my 9th culture shock moment here in Malaysia, and that is Malaysians don't use "you're welcome" here. If you say thank you with them, they will reply back, thank you. So it's like, thank you, thank you, thank you,
thank you.
Just like that, it's thank you. And that is something, an amusing thing for me as well. And last on my list, guys, is that there are establishments here that have different pricing for locals and foreigners. So example here is when we were in Minara, Kuantan, and this happened.
You want to buy a ticket for Skydek?
Yeah.
Okay, for Skydek you can buy the ticket at counter number 2. But if you only want to go to observation deck, which is on level 1, you can just go to kiosk buy the ticket. But excuse me, may I ask, are you a citizen or non-citizen?
Non-citizen.
Both of you are non-citizen, right? Okay, so this is the price for non-citizen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So foreigners are paying more than the locals, and I think that's okay and it's reasonable that we are paying more because we're tourists here. That's something like an incentive or like a discount for the locals to make it more affordable, and they will be able to enjoy their own attractions. The reason why I included this on my culture shock moment is because when I was still in the Philippines and I was actually doing couch surfing, I once hosted a French girl, and when I was showing her around our place, she was shocked that I was paying the same amount that she's paying for us to enter a tourist spot. She said to me that,
Why are you paying the same amount as I am? You should be paying less, or you should not be paying anything because you're a local here.
and at that moment I was like, huh? That's not the thing here in the Philippines. And I thought that it was just like in France. But when I experienced that in Kuantan, I was like, yeah, I think our country should do the same. Because in our hometown, guys, entrance fees for tourist spots, places that we will visit, it's really expensive. And we are paying the same amount as tourists pay. So we are locals, we're not tourists on our own island, right? Or on our hometown. So yeah, I think what they're doing here is very reasonable. I like that they do that here. And yeah, I think that's my list so far for my culture shock moments here in Malaysia. I have few for now because, you know, I've been working from home my entire stay here in Malaysia. So I'm not able to interact much with locals here unless we do travels. If you like this video, guys, don't forget to hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you will be updated for my future uploads. Once again, this is Honey and you're watching Honey's M1 Stories.